Howdy everybody, and welcome back to November 30th. If you recall in the last video, November, that is where the last few days of November are on the same week as the first few days of the month of December. Thus, November. I'm pretty proud of that. Thought of that myself. Oh, he's a genius. Yeah. So what is it I'm up to today? Well, if you recall in the last video, I had started digging a trench to install an overflow pipe for the duck pond here behind me. So that's where we're going to go at today. I got up early this morning, crack of dawn, it was a nice brisk 33 degrees, and finished shoveling the trench. I've got the pipe laid in, now it's just backfilling. So anyway, let's go take a look, see what we ended up having to do there. As you can, well, there's the happy finger. Anyway, right there is the end of the pipe. I got a little bit of sod sitting on top of it. The pipe is in the trench, all the way from one end to the other. And I ended up sliding it back quite a little bit. That's about 3 foot right there from the end of the pipe out to the end of the bank there of the pond. One thing I did have to do to get that pipe level, or more or less level, all the way down to the end, this is just a line of sight and eyeball sort of thing, I had to raise up those two poly pipe lines a little bit. So I had to shovel those back a wee bit, get the dirt off of them, and then I put a pair of 2x4s up on edge underneath them to raise them up, and then backfilled some kitty litter underneath the pipe there. Kitty litter? Well, yeah, that works great. It's clay based. That clay gets in around that corrugations of the pipe and whatnot, seals it up, and prevents water from leaking. Except for maybe where the stuff is. Ooh. Now the reason why that pipe got moved back towards the north so far is so that that end right there would be in line with those two fence posts. If we swing out here, you can see that there's two. Yeah. Now the reason why I run that overflow pipe so far back to the north, which is behind me here, was in case we need to run a fence line across the end of that, or a gate or something, and I might have livestock out here, like goats or sheep or cows or something to eat the weeds. That'll be underneath the fence so that they can't go down into a ditch and crawl out. Yeah, don't know that that'll ever happen, but planning ahead. And with the end of that pipe being right about there, this whole bank here can be carved out and dug down into the bottom of the pond, and that will increase the amount of water in the pond, hopefully enough that it'll make up the difference for what we're losing in height volume. So anyway, that's next up. I'm going to get out here with the shovel, start digging out some of the bank of the duck pond here, and use that material to backfill over the pipe, and then that little project will be done. Now there's a reason why I'm installing this overflow pipe. The pond was naturally overflowing last year anyway, and water was running down that way to water those trees. Well, that caused two problems. The first problem was this area in here and down and around was so saturated with water, it was impossible to drive anything over it, whether it be a lawnmower or whatever. You didn't even want to walk across it unless you were wearing waders, because that was always wet and muddy. So that was problem number one. Problem number two, well, you can see the results of that. Let me show you what they are. And the second problem of having all that area down there soggy wet all the time was the fact that I couldn't get up here with a lawnmower to take care of all those weeds. Yeah, look at that. So as soon as I can get some of that back filled in, I'm going to get the riding lawnmower out here today, if it'll start, because it is rather cool. It isn't even 40 degrees yet, and it's almost 11 o'clock. We're going to mow all that down out there. Well, this area looks a lot better down here by the pond. This is kind of just a little grassy area that really doesn't do much with, other than it's just a nice little grassy area. Yeah, I guess a person could put a picnic table out here, but the only way across, other than building a bridge, is to come down here and around the pump house. I do have these little sunflower plants that I need to pull yet. They are too close to the edge of the pond for me to mow them. So, yeah, we'll pull those by hand and then get in here with the push mower and clean up the edge of that, or a weed eater. Well, I was doing real good this afternoon. I spent a couple hours on the lawnmower until, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that's a fairly new belt too. Every time I turned on that deck, it felt like something was dragging. So I may have a spindle in the deck that's gone bad. And when it loads up, hitting a gopher pole or something, it finally just had enough and let go. So, yeah, but I'll show you what I did do today. It is very nice to be able to get down in here with that mower and clean all this area up. And I was just about done between that pine tree and the next one when that belt broke. I don't know that you can see it, but other than right along in here where the plow stirred up the dirt, that's looking a heck of a lot better. Other than there's a few patches right there that I missed because of that belt breaking. I got the first half or so of that pipe buried, but I stopped doing from about here down. Now I've stopped filling in the trench over there that has the pipe in it simply because I was digging down at the opening at the head end of that pipe, and I was finding little white crayfish that were in hibernation or whatever it is they do for the winter. So I decided it'd be best just to leave that alone until the spring. Let the fish, crayfish, freshwater lobster, whatever you want to call them, have their winter, and then next spring they can come out and start doing whatever they do in the pond again. So yeah, for now I'm going to just leave that the way it is, and we'll get on with our projects around the farm here. That said, thank you all for watching this episode. Thank you for subscribing. We got a lot of new members. In fact, I looked at the algorithms, I think it was this morning, something like 208 of you have subscribed in the last month. So thank you very, very much to each and every one of you. And yeah, we'll keep going the way we're going here. So anyway, don't forget, right down there, down at the bottom corner below the screen, there's that little red thing that says subscribe. If you would, please click on that. I'd appreciate it. And stay tuned. We'll have more stuff coming up with tractors and all that kind of thing eventually here on the farm. So, yeah. In the meantime, I'm Farmer Dave. Y'all be safe and careful out there. Bye-bye now.